Hey, it's time for story time with Cindy. I wasn't planning on sharing this story. It didn't even really cross my mind to share it publicly, but I was inspired by a fellow Instagrammer or YouTuber that I follow and have collaborated with, and wanted to share my story because she just posted some tips on girl trucker safety, and it applies so well to Shipt shoppers and those of you doing other gigs that might be out in the public and potentially dangerous situations. Her take on it was human trafficking and things like that. And y'all, it is an issue. It's a thing in this country, and it's scary and it's horrific. I'm not going to sit here and try to scare you, but I do want you to be sure that you are aware of how to take care of yourself and how to protect yourself and how to keep yourself out of danger. So I'm going to tell you a little story that happened to me last week, and this had nothing to do with Shipt. I was out on personal business. I was not shopping at the time, but this is a scenario that could happen to you while you're shopping. I'm driving down the road, and there are two lanes that merge into one. Like, my lane merges into my right lane, merges into the left lane. So typically at that spot, drivers will allow, one other car. Every other car will merge, and people are very polite. This kind of town I live in, mostly. Don't tell Nashville drivers. Yeah, I know, but for the most part, I'm in the suburbs are reasonably respectful about driving. And if my friend Emery is watching, she's probably going to disagree, but that's okay. I love you. So the merge got a little congested and crowded, and I made a mistake, and I'm going to sit here and tell you that mistake. There was nothing wrong with my merge. One car merged, one car in front of me merged, and then another car beside me went, and then I was planning to merge after that car, and then there was a car behind me in the other lane that was going to come. Does that make sense? I probably should do a graphic. I don't know. But, so the person that should have been behind me based on, common law merges, I don't even know what to call it, really didn't think I should merge, or didn't want me to, or didn't want to be behind me for whatever reason, which is just mind-boggling to me because nobody seems to really be in a hurry right now, and there's really not that much traffic. So my mistake was my reaction. I chose to ignore him blaring his horn and revving his engine and speeding up to ensure that I don't merge. And I basically forced the merge. I never put anyone in any danger. I knew exactly where I was at all times in that matter. So I'm not really proud of that choice. So go ahead and, comment, shame me, whatever you want to do. Okay. That was my first mistake. So the lesson there is don't do things like that. So I had another 5 or so miles, maybe 7, 8 miles to drive to my destination. I was actually, the whole story gets funny. I was actually delivering 2 large bags of dog food to a pet rescue and community clinic for pets that is one of the big charities that supports animals in our community. So it's taking that food, and that's why I was even out. So, and it's a long way, and I was crossing towns. So it's uncommon for 2 travelers to merge. It's like the roads merge. To at the same time be going from where I was going to where I was, from where I was to my destination. Makes sense? Very, very unusual. So I get to where the road, so we're on a 1-lane road, cars behind me. I'm just keeping an eye on him. I figure when the roads break back open into 2 lanes that he's going to blare past me, rev that engine, and hold on. I'm going to tell you the best part of the whole story at the end, so just be patient. It's comical. But I want to get through the safety tips first. So he never did. So I'm like, that's interesting. So I kind of just kept an eye on where he was throughout my drive. I get to a huge intersection that goes from the main highway, and then you can turn off onto a bypass. The bypass is where I was going. It's a smaller local road, and when I know for a lot of you, when I say bypass, you're thinking of like a big highway or kind of interstate type thing. It's not that at all. This is literally like a 2-lane highway around a very small town. Okay, so when he pulled in behind me at that intersection to turn the same place I was turning, I thought, that's interesting. Very unlikely that we're going the same direction at this point. If you knew where I lived or lived here, you would understand that, but you'll just have to trust me. So then I drive another like 3 or 4 miles, or probably 3 miles. I'm not really sure, because these are like my roads and it's just where I go. So when you're turning into the clinic, it's like a one small skinny driveway that goes down a ways, long driveway. It goes down a ways and curves around to the clinic. And there's one way in, one way out. It's behind most buildings on the street. There's not a lot of people coming in and out today because of COVID, and most businesses are closed. So they have necessary volunteers there, and they're only seeing pets that are critical, and the owners are having to wait outside, or not critical, but you know what I mean, like necessary visits. So that's pretty much what everybody around here is doing. So when he gets in the turning lane and is behind me to go to that clinic, I'm like, nope, not happening. I already have my earbuds in and phone in my hand because I'm pretty sure this is coming because I've traveled this far, and the odds of him not getting off the bypass at this point are almost nil. Almost nil. Everybody's gone to where they're going by now, where I was going. So I abort the turn. I get back into the regular lane, and of course he follows me. So I call 911, and they stay on the phone with me until I pull into the courthouse, which is about a mile up. So the courthouse has the courthouse, jail bonds, and then some kind of other part of the sheriff's department or something like that. And so I just park my little happy car by the 6 or 7 patrol cars that are lined up, and or not parked, but I just kind of stopped. Like I circled thinking he would move on, but he didn't. He moved in behind me. Really? Let's go see the police together. So he starts to get out of his car, and I just put my hand up and I said, why don't you just hold on, because the police are on their way. And of course the dispatcher has already called, and I told her where I was going, so they're heading my direction. Whoever's out on patrol right now, these cars are just there. I don't know where the actual policemen that go with them are. But anyway, so they're on their way. And so then he starts yelling obscenities and insults at me. And then, and I'm like, all right, and I just roll my window up, lock my doors, and stay put, and keeping an eye on him and making sure he's not getting out. Don't know if he has weapons or not. I'm not comfortable just driving off. Some of you are going to think, well, why didn't you just drive off? Well, where am I going to go that he's not going to follow me? Right? So I felt like this was the safest spot. My other option was to literally get out of the car and walk into the courthouse. But at this point, I don't know if the doors are unlocked. I don't know if I can get in. It was actually on a Saturday. So pretty sure the courthouse wasn't open, but I'm pretty sure one of the other buildings there was. I never felt afraid or out of control. And I guess that's the point of the story, is that I want you to be aware of your surroundings. And I'm going to put a link to the Simple Livin video that talks about truck stops. And she gives you the same concept. Don't be out of control of your environment. Be confident, be aware, and be prepared. I knew exactly what was happening about 3 miles after the merge incident. I knew what was potentially happening. So I stayed aware. I made a plan in my head. I already knew I was going to pick up the phone and call 911. Always made sure that I had room to move and escape the vehicle situation, like in my car, escape, and actually get out of my car and escape. I was aware of every single business that was around me. I was aware of larger businesses and facilities like the hospital and things like that, like where if things started to get ugly, I could pull in and blare my horn and get actual help from security or something like that. So I guess that's kind of the point, is just be aware, be confident, be aware, be prepared. So those are your mottos for safety. All right. So here's the funny part of the story. I drive a Toyota crossover. It's a pretty short car. I'd like to call it an SUV, but it's more like a glorified station wagon. So it's really not that big. It's big and roomy and comfy and love it, love it, love it. Like the inside, it's like a luxury car. But when you look at it, it's like basically, literally a glorified station wagon. The driver that was following me was in a Dodge Ram Hemi. I'm a girl. I know girls are tough. I am, but you know, I'm not putting myself intentionally in harm's way. He was a man with his wife and children. Very, not large, but good size, strong, obviously in decent shape man that probably, if we were to have a physical altercation, could destroy me, except that I know a few moves to get me out of it. Make sure you know a few moves. So it was ridiculous. It was absurd, and it should have never happened. The mistake I made was forcing the merge. The mistake that he made was following a female around all over town, like across towns. The police had him sit. Whether they wrote him a citation or not, I don't know, but they held him at the courthouse. The rest of the story I'm telling you to assure you that you will be taken care of, and they will respect you and your concerns. The driver that was following me was held at the courthouse. I don't know what they said to him. I don't care. He was stopped from following me, and that was my concern. It's their job to decide what's next for him. They held him long enough for me to deliver the dog food. I even asked the officer, I said, how long are you keeping him? Because I have to drop this dog food off unless you'd like to drop it off for me. And they said, no, you go ahead. We'll hold him plenty of time for you to do that. So I don't know if he sat there for 10 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour. I really have no idea. I didn't ask. So I delivered the dog food, and then I left and took a different route home. Not that he's going to try to find me again. He probably was pretty mad at that point. I'm sure his wife was pretty mad at that point, because I know I would be. But that's the story. So go ahead, if you made it to this point, and watch Simple Livin video about rest stops. Hers is much shorter. She's much better than me about making shorter videos. And thanks, guys, for joining in on story time. Please be safe. Be aware of your surroundings. Lots of people are on edge right now. Hit subscribe if you want more and tips and information from me about Shipt, whether you're a customer or a shopper, and to make sure your notifications are on. If there's something in particular that you want to know about, leave it in the comments there, and I'll do my best to cover it. All right? Or I'll just answer your question. All right? Thanks. Have a great weekend.